Welcome to Dom's Corner, everybody. I am your host, Dom Martino. If you like the content here, make sure you hit that like button below, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comments section. I appreciate that, just so long as it's constructive criticism, of course. And I do thank you guys for joining me. We got some stuff to talk about today, a lot of news. So should be a really fun show. And so let's just start right from the top. So Mandalorian season 2 trailer dropped. Haven't had a chance to talk about that, so let's get into it. So what I really liked about this trailer personally is that it definitely just kind of told you what was going on right from the get-go. Gave you an idea about where the season's going to go. It was very simple, but very, very cool. I really enjoyed it myself. Thankfully, Pedro Pascal was throughout this entire trailer. And I know there's been like a lot of rumors that he wasn't going to be in this season in the entirety of it, which, I was kind of mentioning last week that there might be a 0.01% chance that that's true, but I actually am pretty positive that that's not true, but we'll get into that a little bit. So first and foremost here, excuse me, first and foremost, let's just kind of dive into the trailer itself. So, we kind of got some pretty cool, obviously the Lucasfilm logo shows up, which is always super awesome. I really love the visual of Mando and Baby Yoda walking through. I don't know what planet that was, but it's that really awesome visual shot that popped up where he's just walking through. It looks like it's dark out on the planet, and there's just like a lot of lights and things of that nature. So I thought that was really cool. So you had that going for it, which is always awesome. I do think that the snowy planet that we see him walking through later is going to be Ilum. It's like a spinning image of Ilum in every way, shape and form. If you guys have played the Jedi Fallen Order game, you get to kind of explore Ilum, and the way it looked in Mandalorian was pretty much just like that, or in the Mandalorian Season 2 trailer was pretty much just like that. It looks incredibly like Ilum. So, there was a lot of speculation that maybe it was Hoth, and that's a possibility too. It could be a new planet. I'm kind of, personally, I don't like Star Wars to be overly connected or, overly saturated and all that kind of stuff. Like, I do like new things, and I don't like a lot of old things or what have you just coming into the mix. But I think it's important that we do connect planets. It's a big and vast galaxy, and I agree that we explore in these things. But part of it for me is that we have all these amazing planets that haven't been used enough, and if you're going to do a snow planet, then you might as well make it ill. That's what I actually don't like in Star Wars is like, so the Resistance base is, for example, Rise of Skywalker is on Ajan Kloss, which is fine. I like the look of the planet, but like it might as well have been Endor. It's another forest planet. So if we're going to make new planets, then we might as well add new elements to these planets that we haven't seen on any other planets. And I feel like one of the biggest drawbacks of something like Ajan Kloss, for example, Rise of Skywalker, is it looks so similar to like Endor. It just doesn't look new. So if it is a new planet, it needs to look new, and this planet didn't look new, but I have a feeling it's Ilum. This talked about how it's going to go, or we've heard in the past reports about how this show is going to go into a lot of the rise of the First Order, which I'm really into. I think that makes a lot of sense if it is Ilum, because of course the First Order took over Ilum and made it Starkiller Base. So to me it just makes a lot of sense if it's Ilum. I don't know. It looks just so much like the Ilum we saw in Jedi Fallen Order. So I'm really into that personally. I liked a lot of the shots, like the stormtroopers riding on the speeder bikes was awesome, and that was really top notch stuff. I enjoyed the shot of, I believe it's Sasha Banks in the trailer, and I believe, well, I don't know. I have heard very conflicting things on this, so I don't know what to believe anymore. I hope she's Sabine Wren. She looks a lot like Sabine Wren in the trailer. Sabine Wren, of course, is a character from Clone Wars and Rebels, if you guys haven't seen those two animated series. And it looks like that's going to be her. Definitely didn't look enough like Ahsoka, and we know that Rosario Dawson's going to be playing Ahsoka already. So it didn't look anything like Rosario Dawson. I mean, it may have been, just depending on how much of the heavy makeup is. But it honestly looked like a spitting image of Sasha Banks with some makeup on, maybe. And, it had an orangish hue for sure on her face, so that's the only thing that makes me think it could have been Ahsoka. And they were also kind of alluding to the idea of Jedi on the scene, but that could be a misdirect. Because Sabine obviously is not a Jedi, of course. So, yeah, I'm not really sure myself. I definitely am hoping it's Sabine, though. It did look like she may have purple hair under the hood. Possibly like a dark purple hair, but Sabine's hair color changed all the time, so she could have black hair, as far as we know. Who knows? But I actually think it's it's a pretty awesome shot. They're kind of talking. Obviously, Yoda. It's a shipyard, so Yoda or sorry, not Yoda. The child, who is who's the same species as Yoda, which is why I was getting confused. And Mando see her across the shipyard, and then she disappears. I actually thought it was a really cool shot, and I'm really liking the vibe and the tone of the season. I like that we're visiting planets that are clearly more colorful. There's not as much sand. It doesn't have that real kind of tan look. Not that that's bad for Star Wars. It worked great in the first season, but I really want to, if we're gonna go to planets, they can't all have sand on them, right? And that was another thing. Like, Mando was on that planet, and I can't remember the name of it, so forgive me for a good while in the first season, but excuse me, for a good long while in the first season. But next thing you know, you're on Tatooine, and it looks exactly the same as the previous planet. So it just, I don't know. I don't like when the planets look too similar to one another, and that's probably one of the gripes I have with the first season Mandalorian. But here, this looks like stuff we've never seen before for the most part, with the exception of that snow planet, which once again I do truly believe is Ilum, which I would love. And if that's the case, we may see Emperor Palpatine. A lot of people have had theories about that. That'd be pretty interesting, and that would make a lot of sense, because Palpatine was kind of behind the scenes pulling the strings the entire time. Some people that think that Mando's just gonna give up on Baby Yoda in this season. We've seen like images where it looked like the child. I'm sorry, I keep calling it Baby Yoda, and it's really not. I know that's like kind of what's been the phrase that's been coined by kind of the memers, so to speak, but it's really just the child. We don't really have a name for it yet. And I think that they just refer to it as a child. I don't know, but Mando and or Din Djarin, we actually have Mando's real name now, and I keep forgetting to use it. But yeah, it looks like this is going to be one big adventure. I think that it's going to expand much, according to Favreau anyway, in that Entertainment Weekly article. It sounds like it's going to expand far beyond just Mando and the child. So it looks like we're going to have some new characters in there. Probably some people we're going to meet in that shipyard, obviously, or on the boat itself. The shot of the boat was really cool. We don't really see like boats like that in Star Wars. It looks pretty close to our reality. So I really enjoyed that. I just really enjoyed the vibe, the environments of this. I like that it told you what was going to be happening pretty much throughout the entirety of the season. Mando's going to have to try to find a home for this little child, and or seek its own kind, which are the Jedi. So that all should be really, really interesting. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So, guys, let me know what you thought of the Mandalorian Season 2 trailer in the comments below. Would love to hear your thoughts on it. Are you excited about it? Are you just really not looking forward to it? Are you, same amount as excitement, since before the trailer came out? Yeah, let me know what you thought. I was actually, the only other thing I'll add is I actually thought we talked about it here prior. I think Adam and I did on a previous episode about where that we thought where we thought the trailer would kind of go. We were kind of both on the same page that they would kind of throw in that little Star Wars surprise, and there really wasn't that in the trailer, but it looked cool. Almost didn't mention that badass fight scene. One of the things I liked about that too is that they put that black, kind of screen on there. Outside of the obvious funny moment where, the child closes his little crib. But they showed that, there was actually some really cool Star Wars creatures in there too that we'd seen prior, for sure, and other things. So that was like Gamorreans, for example, were in there. There was a what is Maul's Darth Maul's species? I want to say Dothraki, but that's from Game of Thrones. I know it's similar to that, but we saw one of those in that scene. But I like that they put the black screen up because it's gonna be a real badass fight scene, and we want to wait till the season airs for you to see actually how cool it's gonna be. But it looks like Mando's going to kick some ass. So, really, really looking forward to that for sure. So, anyway, once again, let me know what you guys thought of the Mandalorian Season 2 trailer down in the comments below. Really appreciate your feedback. And thank you for joining, or thank you for giving the feedback. So. Yeah, so moving on, we had another trailer, and the other one is Wandavision. Now, this one I'm not going to probably speak as in depth about as I did for Mandalorian. I know a lot of the comic book readers are, kind of, coming up with speculation and everything for this, and as far as that goes, I don't really have, like, a lot of the comic knowledge to be able to speak to this one as much. I'm not as well versed in Marvel as I am in Star Wars, so, I try to stick with what I know how to talk about. But as somebody who's kind of an outsider, I mean, I love the MCU, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm pretty well versed in the MCU in general, but like, so just like as somebody who has seen the films for the MCU movies, sorry, I saw something on the wall. I was like, what the heck is that? It's a screw I was using for something last week. Sorry about that, got distracted. So yeah, so I love Marvel movies, obviously, and I love the MCU, and so this being the first edition, or the first thing to come out for Phase 4 now, was supposed to be Black Widow, but that's been pushed back. So this is going to be airing on Disney Plus's series WandaVision. Here's what I'll say. A lot of people aren't digging the 50s sitcom vibe, and I don't want to judge it yet till I see it played out in the series. I actually really like the vibe. I hope it's executed well in the series, like, and then there's a real good point to it, and I'm sure there will be, right? And the other thing I'll say is, like, Elizabeth Olsen's an incredibly talented actress. Like, I love that woman. I think that's going to turn out, or she's going to turn out really great, and turning out great things. Really great performance from her, I'm assuming, and I'm hoping. So that should be pretty exciting to see her kind of, show off her chops in a lead for a series. And, this character's never really gotten her own thing. And I'm assuming Paul Bettany's going to do really well as Vision, reprising this role. But the thing is like, I feel like she's more going to be the lead. The trailer showed about just as much as of both of them, but she's really the lead, right? Because Vision's dead at this point. So he's just a fragment of a memory or something like that. I'm not sure how they're going to play it, and it doesn't seem like a lot of other people are too sure about it. What I will say is it looks like it's definitely taking risks and it's going to be something completely new and fresh that we haven't seen in the MCU. And that I appreciate, and I've heard a lot of people have appreciated that. And I really hope it does great things. Who's the actress? Catherine Hahn is also in the show. I'm not sure who she's playing. But I'm on the fence about her in the show. Seemed like when she jumped in I like Catherine Hahn, just so don't get me wrong, but it seemed like when she kind of jumped into it, or when the trailer would focus on her, that the vibe of the show kind of got ruined for me. So that aspect I didn't really enjoy too much, but she might work really well in the show. So that's not to say that she's a bad actress or anything, or that it, can't feel differently in the show. I just felt like when she was in there, it just felt a little odd. So or not odd, the whole show looks very odd, so that was probably the wrong word to use, but just odd for the tone, like off color a little bit when she showed up. But I actually think that she'll probably do really well, and they probably have a big plan for her, and I'm sure the show's gonna, one of the things I like about them switching from the sitcom to reality and us not knowing what's going on is, that leaves room for so many unpredictable twists, and I think that can really benefit the show. It'll work in the writer's favor, the fact that they kind of had this premise where we don't really know what's going on, and so that's the part of it I'm looking forward to the most, is kind of the mystery of the thing, and how it could work in the writer's favor, and they can kind of give us some real unpredictable twists and I think it'll be something very different. It already obviously is going to be something very different than we've seen in the MCU before. I'm looking forward to Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany working off each other in this kind of 50s sitcom style, and all the different things they can do. I think it'll be really interesting, and I really actually like the idea that this is like a reality that she's created in her mind too. So who knows? Could be, like I said, could be some really interesting twists with it. So let me know, guys, what do you think of the WandaVision trailer? Let me know in the comments below. Would love to hear your thoughts and all that. So yeah, thanks for participating in the comments as always. So moving on. We do have some, I don't know if anybody watched the Emmys. Anybody watched the Emmys? Because the Emmys were on. I did not get to see them entirely, but there were some wins that I was definitely happy about. Now, given I haven't seen every show that's been nominated for the category, but, I was happy for these shows because they were shows that I watch in general. So we'll start with The Mandalorian. Mandalorian won for stunts, and it won for best score. Ludwig Göransson's score and just about everything he touches is unbelievably incredible. Like he makes scores that are like reminiscent of things we know, but then he adds this like fresh new twist on it, right? So like if he's going to be doing Rocky, it's going to sound like a Rocky score. I'm sorry. So he does Creed, which is part of the Rocky franchise. He makes a Rocky score, but he adds his own little new and fresh, like little modern twists on it, right? When he was doing what's the movie, Black Panther, he had this like Marvel sounding score, but he added this own little twist on it. Like he likes to add his own DNA into familiarity. And another one, a great example, just saw it, was Tenet. When he's doing something like Tenet, it sounds like a Hans Zimmer score, right? Because Christopher Nolan always uses Hans Zimmer, so it's like this Hans Zimmer score with this like electronic type style to it, and it's got its own contemporary like twist on it. It's fresh, or something fresh he's adding to it, so he always knows how to fit it. So Mandalorian was no exception. With Mandalorian, it sounded like a Rocky score. I mean, it really kind of did, let's be honest. Dun 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 dun. Can you see like Rocky training to that? And nah, it kind of sounded Rocky-ish, but for the most part, it's not too far away from something we'd hear in Star Wars, because it's got its own iconic sound to it, and it's one of the most iconic scores we've had since the original dun 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 dun, dun, or the Imperial March, dun 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 dun, or the Force theme, or Duel of the Fates. All right, I'm gonna stop. But no, seriously. So yeah, I mean, he's still making something iconic, which I think is what he was asked to do, is to make something that people are going to be humming, and I'm always listening to that. Dun, 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 dun. Like, always am always listening to that Mandalorian score. So anyway, point was, I'm really happy to see Ludwig finally win something, like win his Emmy off that, because he really did a bang up job with the Mandalorian score. There's no doubt about it. And just, oh my gosh, the score in that scene where he's kind of going down through the ship and just taking people out like one by one, that score that he had for that episode was top notch. I mean, it was always top notch, but that one stood out to me in particular. It was just so intense. Very Hans Zimmer like, but just intense for a score we've heard in Star Wars. So that guy really earned his keep, I would say. So next thing that won was that I was thrilled about was definitely, what's the girl's name? Oh yeah, this is probably the biggest win for me. Was Zendaya won for boy, what's the show? Euphoria. I love Euphoria. Euphoria is amazing. If you guys haven't seen Euphoria season 1, check that shit out. I mean, it's incredible. Disturbing and unsettling at times, for sure. It might not be everybody's thing, but I just definitely recommend giving it a shot to see if it is your thing. It's on HBO, and looks like season 2 is going to be delayed, so you guys will probably have a lot of time to get into it and check it out. But season 1 was incredible. Zendaya carried that show like on her back almost, and there's a lot of great performances and actors, but she is like the standout, and it was something that was so risky for her and so far from her typical wheelhouse that for her to pull something like that off. I was watching the clip the other day. It was one of my favorites where her and her mother were fighting, and she's got this like piece of shard of glass that she's like going after her mother with. It's like, oh my god, she's so intense. She brings the intensity. That's not a huge spoiler, by the way, but it's probably more than I maybe should have said for those of you who haven't seen it. But still, like, trust me, Zendaya brings the intensity, she brings the emotion, and she does a phenomenal job in the show. But it's a great show. I'm looking forward to season 2 because I need my Euphoria, damn it. But yeah, that show's incredible. Big win. Big people are calling it an upset. I wasn't upset, but whatever. She did beat a lot of big players for sure in that category for best lead actress in a dramatic series. So yeah, Mark Ruffalo won for that series that he was doing. I think that was a limited or TV movie or something like that. I think Hugh Jackman won as well for no. I'm sorry. I think Bad Education won as well. I still have not seen Bad Education, guys. I know it's sad because I hear it's one of the best of the year for sure. And then who else wanted they? Oh, big win was Watchmen. I mean, Watchmen deserves every bit of that win it got for best limited series. It is one of the best comic book properties I'd seen in a long time. Looked like there was really no love for The Boys, which I was pretty upset about that. By the way, guys, I have been watching The Boys season 2. Loving it so far. Probably bring you guys a review of the whole season once it's over, so looking forward to doing that. But yeah, I was surprised. No love for The Boys on that one, so found that to be interesting. Maybe got snubbed in a few categories for sure. But hey, I didn't watch the full Emmys. I heard it was interesting to do it the virtual way. Might be the new way of doing things, so why not the Emmys, right? I mean, the Oscars are probably gonna have to figure something out. I'd imagine they, if the virtual thing works, you can pull it off. That's awesome. So, was definitely thrilled about that. So anyway, so moving on, I did receive a piece of news today, which was Passion of the Christ 2 is supposedly done. Mel Gibson's written the script. He sent it to Jim Caviezel. Jim Caviezel's saying that it's going to be the greatest movie of all time, and I doubt that. Listen, I'm looking forward to A Passion of the Christ 2. I think it's cool to do the resurrection. I think it's going to be a really great movie. Nothing Mel touches directing wise hasn't been anything but a great movie. I mean, everything he's doing has been great as a director on the director's side. I just don't see it being the greatest film ever. I mean, the first Passion of the Christ was R-rated. I don't see this one being R-rated. I really can't think of a reason for it to be R-rated. They could probably get away with a PG-13 if they're going to cover the resurrection stuff, which is fine. I'm not saying this movie needs to be R-rated. I'm saying that I think a lot of the business sense for the first movie is it was a Jesus movie, but yet it was R-rated. R-rated things are, something that the church usually is against, right? But in this case, they kind of weren't. Some were, some weren't. Some churches were saying it's too accurate, it's too violent, and then other churches were saying we appreciate the accuracy of that. Not to get into a religious discussion. That's a whole other thing. But Passion of the Christ 2, hell yeah, I'll take it. I think it's going to be. That was weird to say. That was an accident. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to anybody. I didn't mean it like that, but I'll take it. I will take A Passion of the Christ 2. It's called Passion of the Christ Resurrection, from my understanding. That is the working title so far. So, yeah, really, really looking forward to that. Cannot wait. Something else I started watching and I haven't finished yet was The Devil All the Time. I meant to finish it before I did the show. Just kind of got strapped for time. Wasn't really able to do that. Oh, but back to the Passion of the Christ, guys. Let me know if you guys are looking forward to a sequel. Do you think it's necessary? I think anything Mel Gibson touches as a director, that's not a comment on him as a person, but as a director, I think everything he touches has been gold. So just let me know what you guys think. I'm excited to see Jim Caviezel go back into the role. I just don't see it being as good as the first, was kind of the point. So anyway, guys, the other thing we have not talked about yet, and we got to get to this because this was also massive. This is something I've been looking forward to. The Dune trailer has dropped finally. Do I think it's going to hit that December release date? No, not a chance. Not with the numbers Tenet has been pulling in with its attempt at a theatrical release, and I really hope they don't try to experiment with Dune, put it straight to VOD. I doubt it, because it won't make its money, and we need a sequel to this movie because Dune is only covering like the first half of the first book, to my knowledge, which I started reading the first book and I am loving it. Have not read it before, but the reason I was looking forward to Dune is obviously the cast is real exceptional. You got Timothée Chalamet in there, who I think is one of the best actors working right now, one of the best up-and-coming actors right now. Zendaya was in the trailer, or in the movie, and I mean, we saw her in the trailer. She's going to be in the movie. Jason Momoa is going to be in there. Oscar Isaac. The list really just goes on and on. So I'm looking forward to Dune, and the trailer was exceptional. I think that it looks incredible. I mean, it looks epic. The visuals in there are insane. It looks like Blade Runner visuals, honestly. Denis Villeneuve is one of the most innovative directors working right now. He makes incredible movies. My fear is that the casual audience goers are not going to be ready for this more sophisticated sci-fi film. So what they need to do is they really need to push the marketing once this thing gets closer. I want this thing to make money. Blade Runner 2049 did not make money, and it should have, because that movie is incredible. It's incredible. My favorite movie of, what was the year? Was it 16, 17? 2016, 2017? Whatever year it came out, I remember it was my favorite movie of that year. So, right above The Last Jedi. I mean, but Blade Runner 2049 is an exceptional sci-fi film. It's not the type of film we get a lot today, but the visuals were out of this world. I think it is, visual effects wise, the greatest movie I've ever seen when we're talking that. It had an amazing story. Ryan Gosling did a tremendous job. Even Dave Bautista did a great job in the small part he had. Harrison Ford came back to play Deckard, and he killed it. That movie did not get enough love, and it scares me. I think it might be because people aren't ready for this more sophisticated type sci-fi film. But when you really look at it, this film is going to be more sophisticated, but it's going to have a lot of the fantasy elements that we enjoy too. And it has a tremendous cast. I think the cast is going to be a draw, and I think Zendaya's Emmy win is going to really help the draw here. Jason Momoa is amazing. Oscar Isaac has, Star Wars clout already, so people are probably going to look at this and say, hey, we'll go see it. I'm hoping. But this is a gamble, because this is a really expensive movie, and for the sake of the book readers and for the sake of me, who's now reading the book and wants to see this played out on screen, let me tell you, I really hope that Dune makes money. So this is not just me covering it because I loved it, but this is me being like, guys, if you haven't seen this Dune trailer, check it out. It looks like an incredible movie. And if you don't know what Dune is, just go see this thing. I guarantee it's going to be incredible. Denis Villeneuve is one of the greatest filmmakers. Between Blade Runner 2049 and Arrival, I think he can make one hell of a sci-fi fantasy film. And I think he's going to adapt this book, do it justice. If you guys are hesitant on the original Dune, trust me, the way that Villeneuve directs, I think it's going to be... because there was that David Lynch one, obviously. And trust me, with the way Villeneuve directs, I think he's a much more expansive director. I think he's going to dive into a lot of the detail for you book readers. So yeah, I definitely recommend, checking out Dune. I think you guys are not going to be disappointed with this one. And please, when it comes out in theaters, hopefully not in December, they need to wait till we're past the pandemic. That's the other thing they need to do to make money. So if Warner Brothers is listening, please hold off. I think it should come out later when it's safer to go in theaters, when people are less hesitant to go back into movie theaters. So that way we can see Dune at full capacity. That's just, my take on it. But I really hope this one makes money. Like I said, I'm hesitant because Blade Runner 2049 did not make money. It was a financial flop, but an incredible movie that deserves so much more. But anyway, guys, let me know if you saw the Dune trailer. What'd you think? Are you gonna go see it? Please do. If this thing comes out, I'm telling you, make it some money. If they do the straight to VOD, that's dumb because it clearly looks like a movie that needs to be seen in the IMAX, and that's also going to be another draw for it. But hey, what do I know? So let me know what you guys thought in the comment section below. Anyway. So I gotta tell you, I watched this this thing that Dan Cook put together, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which was pretty cool. I mean, it's not the Fast Times at Ridgemont High movie. It's a bunch of actors that read the script for Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and it was pretty interesting. So Jennifer Aniston was in there, Brad Pitt was in there, which was really interesting because they had a flirt in some scenes together, and we haven't really seen Brad and Jen on screen together in a long time. So it was interesting to see him in this little read. This was something that was done for charity, done for CORE. Guys, go help out CORE. Sounds like a really good charity that's going to help us through the pandemic. So make sure you guys go help them out. But anyway, it was really, really interesting. They had Shia LaBeouf reading for Spicoli, and I'll tell you, man, out of everybody there, he gave like the performance. I like that Sean Penn was the pizza guy in there. Morgan Freeman narrated the thing, which I thought was just hands down amazing. Henry Golding was in there, which we're going to talk about Henry Golding a little bit more here in a minute. But Henry Golding was in there, which I'm starting to love Henry Golding as an actor. I think he's really coming into his own. And by the way, Henry Golding's also going to play Snake Eyes in the Snake Eyes movie for you G.I. Joe fans out there. But yeah, it was really, really fun. Matthew McConaughey. Trying to think of who all was in there. Matthew McConaughey, John Legend, Julia Roberts was in this thing, and Dane Cook, obviously, and they really just did a phenomenal job reading through this script. I thought it was just so much fun to watch. And if you guys are Fast Times at Ridgemont High fans, I definitely recommend this. It was just a fun little experiment. But yeah, there was a really cool thing with the writer Cameron Crowe, and I can't remember the name of the woman that directed that movie, but she was at the end too. They gave like a really cool little tidbit about Sean Penn, which I thought was really awesome. They kind of dove into his audition and talked about that quite a bit. So that was in there. So pretty cool stuff. Just recommend checking it out. You don't have to not to get your donations. I hope you guys donate to Core. That's not really why, but just as a fun little thing. It is on YouTube. That's where I saw it, and yeah, it's a real good time. I definitely recommend you guys check this out. A lot of great talent in there that took time out of their day to do this, and that was really wonderful. But yeah, if you guys are Fast Times at Ridgemont High fans, check it out. If you've already seen it, let me know what you guys thought of that in the comments below. All right. So I was going to talk to you guys about this too. I thought this was pretty cool. This is Watch Mojo video. I don't know. Curiosity kind of struck, and I was like, I was watching this Three Stooges thing, I think is how this all started. I was wanting to know, like, because I was watching Three Stooges in general, some of the old shorts, and I was wondering, like, did any of these guys like ever get injured? I'd imagine they had to. And oh yeah, I was watching this breakdown of all these different injuries that they actually had along the way. It's insane. I didn't know how many they had. Like, there was one where Mo was like standing on a table. Mo got hurt a lot, but there was one where he was like standing on a table, and he was supposed to fall through the table and land on his feet, but he just went like onto his ribs. So that kind of fucked up the stunt and fucked up his ribs along the way. So that was interesting. He broke like so many ribs. I was shocked to see that. So there was that, and then there was another one where he was like, what was it? Oh, they were all supposed to be going through his door. So like, Mo's in the middle, and he's holding Larry and Curly in his arms, and they're all supposed to just walk like they're all gonna go through his doorway, but obviously they're not all gonna fit. So, Schmo and or not Schmo, Larry and Curly were supposed to hit the walls, and then all three of them were supposed to go flying back, but instead, like, Mo twisted his ankle along the way, and he just went straight through the doorway, and just like he not only did he trip, you could actually see him trip and fall with the ankle. He's kind of hobbling a little bit, and then he like falls. You see him fall, but then it cuts right before his head actually hit the bed frame. And it actually knocked him out cold. So I actually found that be really interesting. Like, Shemp lit his ass on fire. Like, he wanted to do the stunt, so that was like his own damn fault. But like, he lit his ass on fire, and was supposed to put it out with his ass. Like, he was supposed to get on the ground and just jump up and down and like put it out with his ass. That was probably a weird look. But anyway, so and it didn't go right. So he had his ass on fire much longer than he probably would care to admit. So that was a stunt gone wrong. There's this scene where Larry was supposed to get like hit with the pen. So the pen shoots at him, hits him in the forehead, and actually, like, the pen actually went into his head. So like, he actually got punctured, and like, you can hear him yell in the scene. It's fucking crazy. Then there was another one where they were gonna tilt the bed, and Curly was, it was supposed to like have Curly hanging out the window, and instead his head hit the windowsill, so he actually had like a gash in the back of his head, which might have had something to do with the stroke and hemorrhaging that he had later on in life, which is insane. But these guys, they really put it all out on the line just to make people laugh. You can actually see the blood on the sheet too when Curly hits his head. It's insane, man. Especially for back in those days. That's fucking nuts. Never really saw anything like it. Uh, but it's nuts. I mean, and they didn't have digital back then, right? So they were using like this really expensive film. So it makes sense. You can't just go out and get more expensive film. You got to keep the shots most of the time if they worked. So yeah, that's what they did. So then I was looking at like Watch Mojo had like a top 20 actors that got hurt. And I'd forgotten about the stunt where I think this might be the craziest thing that anybody's ever pulled off. And I mean, the Tom Cruise jumping from building to building, snapping his ankles, obviously nuts. They mentioned that in that video. Leo, smashing the glass and Django Unchained, his hands actually bleeding. Like that's an insane one. Like these are all accidents that got caught in camera. It was nuts. I didn't know about the Rambo one where he jumped off the cliff and hit the branch like on the trees, because the trees were supposed to kind of break his fall, which did a little bit, but you can actually hear Stallone yell when the branch hits his rib, and oh man, I can't imagine this shit they got to do. But the one that I'd forgotten about was a Foxcatcher where Channing Tatum actually smashed his head through the glass. Like, that's insane. And I also didn't know about the Exorcist one, where the mom, she gets slapped. You can hear her scream, like, really badly, like it's real pain. Her back, like, actually hit this, like, dresser. That's nuts, man. Actors are ballsy, I'm telling you. Like, for them to take on some of these stunts is really ballsy. I know they get paid a lot of work, and it gives the stuntmen a break, which is always nice for them, I'm sure. But I'm telling you, man, actors, they're fucking ballsy. Really fucking ballsy. What else do we got to talk about today? Oh, so I wanted to cover this Pedro Pascal thing, too. So I said on last week's episode that I'm like 99.9% sure that he did not walk out midway through the season. So let's go through the story. We'll cover that first. So basically, there's a rumor that Pedro Pascal had walked out midway through the set over a dispute about him not wanting to wear or want to have his face shown more. Let's talk about the parts of this that could make sense. And then I'll tell you why I actually think it's not true. So, what makes sense to me is that maybe Pedro Pascal would want to be in front of the camera more on some level. It actually makes sense because he's becoming a bigger star, and, you'd want your face shown on camera. However, Pedro Pascal, from what I understand, actually only has to go into a recording booth for about 4 hours for a few days and record all his lines. There's some days he's on set for sure, and there's some days he's in the costume. But he's got a pretty cushy gig. Pedro Pascal is going to be fine. He's coming up in the new Wonder Woman movie. He's going to be playing a huge role in that. He's been shown in all the trailers. I don't know why Pedro Pascal would have gotten pissed off about that. I'm not saying that there wasn't drama with Pedro Pascal on set or that there wasn't drama on Mandalorian at all. Actually, I've heard there was. But I don't think that this was drama caused. Listen. First of all, he can't just walk away from the role. They would have sued his ass about 1,000 different ways. Which maybe he has the money. I doubt it. But he might have the money to just not care about getting sued. But he signed a contract for this character, and he knows how this works. And Disney's not just going to let him walk off the set without repercussions. I think that this would have been an even bigger story had it happened. Gotta be honest with you. Which not everybody's covering this. The other part of it is Pedro knows the deal. He knows his job. If this was an issue, it would have been an issue in season 1. But Pedro knows what he has to do. He goes into a recording booth, records his lines for the most part. Goes in for like 4 hours a day. Not even every day. Most of the time, it's stuntmen in the Mandalorian suit. Hate to break it to you. Why would you give up this gig? You paid buttloads of money. I don't think that this is the case. Number 3. A Mandalorian I'm sorry, Disney Gallery The Mandalorian, which is the documentary series about behind the scenes on Mandalorian that aired earlier this year, I believe. Pedro Pascal was in that. In the roundtable segments. Do you know when they filmed the roundtable segments? While they were filming season 2. So I gotta tell you guys, this report sounds very fishy, and I'm not trying to, go at the person that reported on it. I'm sure she heard it from a pretty reputable source. And probably pretty reliable source in the past, but this report just does not add up. Guys, use your heads. I don't think Pedro Pascal is going to, phase out midway through the season. I don't think there's going to be a noticeable phase out. And the other part of this is, unless there's another reason, and we hear about that. But as far as this report goes, the report is bullshit. I'm pretty positive. Just use your heads. And the other thing is, wouldn't they have marketed it that he wasn't going to be in it as much? I don't know. Maybe it's a strategy to get you to watch it, but I feel like we would have had to have heard things by now about this. Way before the reports just started coming out now. Hey, if I'm wrong, I will be on here apologizing my ass off. But for right now, I gotta tell you guys, I really think that this report is absolute garbage. I don't think that it's true at all. It doesn't add up. I think Pedro's fine. I think Pedro's happy. I've heard quite a few people debunk this report already. It is one of the most controversial reports. If this report had any truth to it, then why is there controversy over it already? I don't know. Maybe it's wishful thinking that he didn't do this, but it just doesn't make any sense when you really start to think about it. Use your heads, guys. He was in the roundtable segments in the Disney Gallery The Mandalorian that was shot during season 2. He's also under contract that would prohibit him from walking out. I mean, he can walk out, like he has a choice. They're not going to, shoot him down or anything if he tries to walk out, but there's certainly going to be hell to pay if he tries to walk out. So, and if he did, which that's the other thing about this report, it's not telling the result of this. It's not saying that he's out of the season. It's just saying there's going to be a noticeable creative difference. But, even if he did walk, they brought him right back. But he's not even on set every day. That's the other thing. He probably wasn't on set at all for this one. Except for when they did the roundtable shoots. But, other than that, he probably wasn't on set at all. Probably sat in a booth and recorded his dialogue. I mean, there might be an episode where they show his face again in this. Who knows? Or maybe it's as simple as midway through the season, he's actually on set with his face. But guys, trust me, if this report had validity to it, I'm pretty positive we would have heard this from bigger outlets a lot sooner. And it would have been all over. I just don't think that this report is true. I know that a lot of people are reporting on it and running with it, and if they're right, that's wonderful for them. But I am, like I said, I'm 99.9% sure that this is bullshit. So, nobody panic. I'm pretty sure Pedro Pascal is fine. It's going to be in the entirety of the season. Now, everybody's going to be pissed at me if I'm wrong. But like I said, I will be apologizing my ass off. Trust me, if I'm wrong. But pretty positive. When we use common sense and use our heads here, it just doesn't add up, doesn't sound right. So I wanted to make sure I covered that. One more thing coming from the world of rumors that I wanted to cover here today before we took off and ramped everything up is Tom Hardy's going to be Bond. Okay. I have no reason to doubt it. I don't think it's necessarily I don't think it necessarily means it's coming from a good source or good news site, but I don't have any reason to doubt it either. It's not coming from a reputable site, by the way, but I don't have any reason to doubt this. I think that it might be true. Listen, some people have been hesitant on it, and they think that Tom Hardy's too rough looking, and trust me, I'd probably much rather see him play a Bond villain. Well, maybe I take that back, because we haven't really seen him play something like Bond, not predominantly in a movie or be a lead like that, so maybe he would be interesting as Bond. Listen, people have been hesitant about it. Watch his performance in Inception. I am telling you right now, he could make a really good Bond. I think he'd be great. And I hate to say this, and I might be proven wrong by this, if Tom Hardy actually ends up being ends up being Bond and is proven to be a wonderful Bond, and maybe the best Bond we've ever had. He might be. He's that good of an actor, so I don't doubt it. I wouldn't put it past him. But actually, I want to bring this up again. I'll bring it back full circle. I think Henry Golding would be phenomenal. Guys, if you haven't seen Crazy Rich Asians, watch it. And tell me that guy is not your next James Bond. If you haven't seen The Gentleman, watch it. Tell me that guy's not your next James Bond. Henry Golding is killing it. I'm sure I don't know, Snake Eyes will probably be a different type of performance from him, but I'm telling you guys, Henry Golding, he has it. I think it's in the bag for him. I'm not even going to lie to you. I really do. So I did some digging on that to see if anybody else was thinking the same thing about Henry Golding being Bond. Turns out Jimmy Fallon actually really wants him to be Bond. There's a really, really interesting Jimmy Fallon interview. Well, 2 times Jimmy Fallon made a prediction the first time he had Henry Golding on. And he told Henry Golding, like, I'm predicting you're going to be the next Bond. And I don't remember how Golding responded. But this last interview with Henry Golding that I saw with him and Jimmy Fallon, I'm telling you right now, guys, Henry Golding might be the next Bond. And here's why I actually say that. Because, like, Jimmy was talking to him about it, right? And Henry Golding did not deny that he was going to be the next Bond. He said, we'll see. So I definitely think that he's in discussions. So if you want to know my personal preference, it's Henry Golding right now. I would not be mad in the least if it was Tom Hardy. But my personal want and prediction is actually going to be Henry Golding. I actually do think he'll be the next Bond. So we will see, guys. Anyway, I've spent a lot of time here talking about a lot of things. Really, really happy to do a show here with you guys, and thank you for joining. As always, always amazing. And we'll see what happens next. But next week. But I think next week we might have more people on here. We'll see. Don't want to get my hopes up. But I am talking with some people. Next week is Saturday we'll be airing the Star Wars Episode 4 New Hope episode. Between Adam and I, we'll be discussing that film in depth, as we have been with all the other Star Wars films. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. That'll air 5:00 p.m. EST. So make sure you guys are checking that out. Hey, what have you guys thought of the Star Wars discussions, by the way? Just let me know in the comments below. I would really like to hear if you guys been enjoying them. But yeah, we've been having a lot of fun doing them, so we're going to keep doing them anyway. But definitely would still like to hear some feedback on them, and, maybe things you would like us to mention. Maybe we can, do that. So anyway, guys, thank you for joining as always. I've been Don Martino once again. If you like the content here, please hit that like button below, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comments section. Always appreciated. Make sure it's constructive, but always appreciated. And let me know what you guys thought of all the topics, for sure. What your opinions are. Would love to, have discussions with everybody. So be sure to let me know in the comments below. So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I've been Don Martino. I'll also be leaving my social media in the description below, so be sure to follow me there. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I've been Dom Martino. This has been Dom's Corner, and I will see you guys with Adam on Saturday. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.